Hey guys, I am Game Advisor and welcome to Should You Play It, a video series where we kind of just give you our opinions on the game and then talk to you a little bit about whether or not we think it's worth actually playing. Now, there won't actually be a rating at the end since to download a free game really doesn't cost you much other than a little bit of data or download time. Therefore, again, we're just going to be talking about what we think about it and giving you some information to make your own decision as to whether or not you want to play it. And for today, the game we're going to be covering is Farlight 84. This has been an incredibly fast-growing game on Steam, even if it has started to plateau out around the time of recording this video. One of the first things that you'll notice when playing this game is that it is a battle royale, but it is not just a battle royale. There's actually a bunch of other game modes for you to play, like a 1v1 mode where each team is able to choose 4 different heroes to play as, meaning yourself as the entire team, and then when you die you'll play the next hero that you chose. Whoever is then the first player to eliminate the entire enemy team first will then be able to win the match and have their ranking and stuff go up. They also have a pretty standard team deathmatch mode, which is a 4v4 team deathmatch, as well as all your traditional battle royale modes like duos and squad mode, which would be 4 players. It is worth mentioning that there are a few other game modes as well as events, but I'm not really going to go into those as they are way less popular than those 4 modes in particular. Now, Farlight 84 is a hero-based shooter game, which means there is a pretty wide selection of heroes for you to choose from. Right now, there are over 10 of them. I believe it's around 13 or 14 total. Don't quote me on that. They could be adding them as time goes on. But either way, it's a big enough selection for you to feel like you have quite a few options. At the beginning of the game, you'll only have a very select few of about 3 heroes, but that will expand out to about 6 as you just level up and play the game for about 5 to 10 hours. After that, you're going to have to buy all the other heroes if you want to play them. To do this, you can either use the game's cash shop system, which I'll talk about in just a second, or you can use the game's in-game currency system, which you get for just playing the game and doing things like the battle pass and all that kind of stuff. At the moment, it seems like it takes roughly around 10 to 20 hours of playing in order to unlock a hero, but I have a feeling this is going to go down more and more over time as I start to get higher level and unlock more stuff in the battle pass, and it gets harder and harder to unlock levels in the battle pass and harder to unlock different things like achievements because I've already gotten all the easy ones out of the way. So I'm thinking it could be around a 30-hour benchmark to be able to get a new hero if you're playing 30 hours of in-game played time, not AFKing or anything like that. To give you some context here, new heroes currently cost about 30,000 of the game's in-game currency that you can get from just playing the game, and you get anywhere from as low as about 70 up to a couple hundred of that currency every time you finish a battle royale. Now, one of the things I really want to point out here is that the game's gameplay actually feels really good. Like, I don't know what the devs did here, but they have nailed the movement system in this game. I mean, I like Apex Legends, which just looking at the footage, I'm sure you can guess it looks pretty similar, but the movement itself actually is really solid. I really enjoy it. It feels smooth, it feels impactful, it feels skillful. So overall, I think the movement system is amazing. Just to give you a quick example here, you basically have your walk, your sprint, your crouch, all that kind of stuff, and then you also have a jetpack that recharges over time and can be upgraded through items that you find in the Battle Royale system that will give you a reduced cooldown. You're able to use it once every roughly 10 to 20 seconds at the beginning, getting all the way down to about 5 to 10 seconds with a legendary upgrade for it to be able to shoot up in the air, and same thing for a more horizontal, kind of like a dash movement. You can also use this while you're in the air, so you're able to jump up and close big gaps to get from one rooftop to another, or just get over a lake, a river, get to an opponent quicker, whatever it may be. And that's not to even mention that the gunplay feels pretty solid. I mean, this isn't CSGO or anything. You're not going to be finding, spray patterns that are incredibly in depth and, has a massive skill ceiling, but it actually just feels solid. It feels smooth and it feels reactive. So whenever you're actually shooting a gun, it feels like your bullets are going where you would expect them to go. Some weapons, like the Jupiter 6, which kind of shoots out these little purple bullets, have travel time, whereas other weapons like an M4 are basically just hit scan. This does create a unique dynamic where the Jupiter can do a lot more damage, but because you have to compensate for the fact that you're shooting a purple laser basically at your opponent and everybody can see where you're at, and the fact that you're shooting a bullet that has to be led onto your target, which makes it have a much bigger disadvantage when firing at longer range. In total, it seems like there's about 20 different weapons or so for you to experience, give or take a few, but personally I think there was more than enough for me to feel engaged and like I was not being forced to use the exact same weapon every single round. Speaking of which, each round of a Battle Royale is actually pretty fast. At the moment, there are 60 players in every Battle Royale mode, which some of are bots, and again, I'll talk about that when we get towards more of the negative side of the game here in just a little bit, but just know there's about 60 other people for you to shoot at. The game does also give you one free revive if you die within the first couple of minutes of play, but if you die after that, you can only be revived by your teammate. One thing I really like that they've done here is they've made it so that if you get executed, you still have a 3-minute time period where your teammate can revive you, but at triple the revive time. So if you were just downed like you would be in any other Battle Royale where you're kind of crawling on the ground, you can be revived just like normal with a 5-second revive time. However, if you are completely eliminated and you don't have the free revive early on in the game, your teammate can still revive you, but it's going to take 15 seconds, and of course you can't move. This means that if you win the fight for your team and you're the last man standing, you can still pick up all your teammates and keep going without all of them just having to watch you as a ghost. And considering most fights don't take anywhere near 3 minutes, this is almost a guaranteed revive on your teammates, assuming you don't get shot by some third party. Now, lastly, before we start talking about some of the more negative points, this game does actually have an auto loot system and a really interesting vehicle system that I have not seen anywhere else. As far as auto loot goes, this is a pretty standard thing to see in BRs nowadays, where it just auto loots attachments that it's like, hey, this is an upgrade for you, there's no negatives. And this game does that exact same thing. However, it can feel a bit buggy at times, considering this is a PC and a mobile game and was originally designed for mobile. Therefore, when you're dragging items in, sometimes things can glitch out and it doesn't go over when you think it goes over and you don't get the weapon you want. But if you just kind of fiddle with it and learn the controls, eventually it's not too bad to deal with. As far as the vehicles go though, this game has by far and away the best vehicles I've ever seen in any Battle Royale. Vehicles are powerful, meaning but not overpowered in any way. For an example, there are vehicles like an artillery bug that kind of move pretty slow and have to kind of root themselves in place on a flat ground in order to turn into an artillery weapon where you can basically launch an airstrike on your opponents every 10 seconds. And yes, it is incredibly fun to use. There are other vehicles like a little 4-seater buggy that turns into a tank that you can fire. There's a vehicle that's a 4-seater car that allows you to turn invisible and is incredibly quiet while driving, so you can sneak right up on your opponents. They also have motorcycles that do these same things and are hover versions of themselves, so they can go over water. There's a cricket looking thing. There's mechs. There is all sorts of stuff. I think there's like 8 or 9 maybe different vehicles. Again, don't quote me on that exact number, but there's enough that it feels really good and they feel really fun to use. Now, as far as the negatives go, some of these you may not feel are a negative yourself, and that's perfectly fine, especially considering this is a free-to-play game. But first, I want to talk about the game's ranking system. At the moment, the game does have a ranking system, but unfortunately, it is pretty bad. It tries to make you think that you're a really good player when you're really not necessarily a good player and have just played the game a lot. The way this works is you start out with a specific elo number in bronze 5, and then you'll go to silver, then gold, then platinum, then diamond, then I think it's like master or something, and then there's like, I don't know, there's like 7 or 8 ranks. There's a lot of them, and it takes maybe like an hour to go from like bronze to gold. And then when you're in gold, to go from gold to diamond, it takes like maybe another 2 hours, and then another 2 hours after that to go, you know, even further. And before you know it, you're at the second highest rank, which is ace. And once you're an ace, you're still probably going to have a lot of bots in your game. I don't know why this is designed this way, because personally it feels like you just can't lose elo, especially not early on. Even if you're the first one eliminated, it's like, hey, you lost maybe 1 or 2 elo points. Whereas if you win a game or even make it past the first 30 seconds, you're going to have plus 100 elo points. So you'd have to lose 100 to 1 games to not get out of bronze. This doesn't even mention that there are so many bots when you're starting out the game and you're at lower elos like bronze, silver, gold, platinum, and even diamond. You're still going to be seeing 60 to 70% bot lobbies, and those bots are pretty awful. They will just walk right up to you like they know exactly where you are somehow, stare you straight in the face, and then fire the other direction. Or they'll run into a wall and glitch out and just aren't able to move. There's a whole bunch of issues with the bots right now, and personally, I think this is the biggest negative, impactful thing on the game right now. So if there's like one thing I had to pick that I just absolutely hate, it's that the bots are just everywhere. They're annoying, and you don't know when you go into a fight if you're going to be fighting a brain dead bot or if you're going to be fighting an actual player and have to treat the situation differently. It kind of makes you take your guard down, and therefore makes it really easy for another team to third party you when a bot shows up from behind and just shoots you one time in the back for like a little bit of a tickle, and then suddenly another team hears those shots and comes running to third party you. Again, I think if they just removed the bots altogether, it would be much better. And personally, I'm not against having them in like maybe bronze or something when people are very first learning the game, but by the time you're in like a gold rank and you've played for a couple of hours, just let people click a button that says I don't want to play with bots. That's all we need. There is more than enough players on this game 24/7 for us not to have bots, so I don't know why they have them, but it is what it is. Now, I do also need to talk about the cash shop. Right now, the cash shop does not appear to have any pay to win outside of unlocking heroes faster. With that being said, it does have an absolutely enormous amount of cosmetics. Some of these cosmetics, when you unlock them, are also only temporary unlock cosmetics. This is something that's been getting more and more popular, and personally I feel is completely stupid. If I spend real money in order to unlock a cosmetic, I should get that cosmetic forever. I did not rent the cosmetic because I don't want to rent cosmetics. But either way, it's a system that's in the game right now. It's really frustrating. And there are some cosmetics that are permanently unlocked, but there are also tons and tons of cosmetics that are only temporarily unlocked, and you'll have to keep playing the game more and more if you want to continue to use it and spending more and more money since you can only rent them. Just remember, this game also has a battle pass filled with cosmetics, and it also has vehicle cosmetics, and it also has gun cosmetics, as well as all those character cosmetics. It has trail cosmetics. This game has just so many cosmetics, it's insane. And the fact that about 50% of the cosmetics you unlock throughout just leveling up or doing the battle pass or whatever are temporary is just absolutely baffling to me. I think this is just like an Asian developer thing, because I've seen a lot of free-to-play games go this way, but I'm kind of ranting at this point, and what I want you to understand is that yes, the cash shop is very predatory, but it is not pay to win. So if you don't care at all about cosmetics, then I wouldn't stress about it because it won't affect you. And now that we're at the end of the video, I want to give you guys kind of a quick should you play it or not? Is it worth your time to try out, or is it not even worth the download? And my answer is you definitely should play it. Overall, the combat and the mobility in the game feels really solid. This is a great battle royale for you to play when you just kind of want to chill out and not really have to think too hard and just kind of have a good time with maybe a friend or up to 3 friends if you have that many available. I don't think this is going to be the next CSGO or the next big Fortnite or anything like that, unfortunately, even though it could be. But until they fix this bot problem, it's just unfathomably frustrating when you're a ace rank player or a diamond ranked player going up against a lobby with maybe 6 other players in it and the rest are bots. It's just really annoying to deal with. I do understand that the game's cross-platform and that the game has been out on mobile for a long time as well, so if you guys want to check it out on mobile, that is also an option. But otherwise, I do want to give a big shout out to our Platinum and Above channel members, which currently include Jonathan S., Gerald89, Caustic FPV, AZ Blackbird, and Jim Phillips. Thank you all so much for supporting us. Thank you all for watching the video. I'm Game Advisor, and I'll see you in the next one.